Welcome to Mean Age Daydream with me, Brian McWilliams, where we're going to be making some jokes, laughing out at broken world, but also laying out some philosophy for the future, how we can fix this mess we're in and have a great time doing it all with a Mean Age Daydream. What's up, buttercups? Welcome to Mean Age Daydream. I am, of course, your bald and beautiful host, Brian McWilliams. And you know, the last couple of weeks, because of the election and because of other instances of waiting for news to drop, I've been doing the show Wednesday mornings and then posting it. And usually my routine is to record it on Tuesday afternoon so I can get it posted and then set it to go at 12 a.m. the next day. I hadn't done it in a few weeks, and I totally forgot my gardener. Yes, my gardener. I know. I'm one of those white people in Los Angeles who hires the poor Mexicans to come and do my gardening. But you know what? Javier's great and I love him. I go back to back with that man, Double Dragon style. So anyway, if you hear some leaf blowing, that's why. And maybe I'll invite him for a little more blowing after the show. You never know. That's one of the perks of being a vendor to the great Brian McWilliams. You never know when the winds are going to blow or who they're going to blow. Anyway, welcome to the show, guys. We are going to get into some interesting chat. You'll see, I don't know if you noticed I pay for Midjourney AI, which is an image generating software, and it's a lot of fun. It won't do explicitly political images. Actually, no, I think I got it to do one, but you can't do like certain things. But I did generate a fantastic image of a pink-haired lady with glasses screaming at blue butterflies, because we're going to talk about Bluesky, which is the newest social platform taking off. Just like, I can't remember, there was one, what was it called? Like a dinosaur name? Brontosaurus, Metasaurus, something like that. Some platform where the first time around, right, when Elon first bought X and when Donald Trump was on, all the people said, "Oh, I'm not staying on here. I'm going to go run over to this other place." And then it was a dead, Death Valley filled with cow skulls and scorpions, and all these idiots came rushing back because the audience is still on Twitter, then Twitter, and now, of course, X. But we're going to get into that because I find it hilarious. Before we do, the Christmas season is almost upon us. Happy early Thanksgiving, by the way. I'll do a show before Thanksgiving proper, but we are rolling into some seasonal promos here at the Lions of Liberty. We have brand new Lions of Liberty Christmas mugs that are going to be coming out. Now, you can get one of these mugs for upgrading your subscription. Go to patreon.com/Lions of Liberty or lionsofliberty.locals. Get all our beautiful bonus content. But if you upgrade, you can also get yourself a fancy mug. And if you, join up at a high enough level of adequacy, per our opinion, you can also get a new mug. That should be posting any day now. Odie just told me, here's the metrics, here's the plan. And I said, good. Go mug it up, buddy. Go make it a mug. Mug root beer, not a sponsor. All right. Getting back to it. So Bluesky. I have perused the Bluesky, which is, of course, a censorship-friendly, very left-leaning social media clone of X. There's virtually no difference, except that it's crappier in every way, and, of course, is full of progressive dickheads. So why are they all going there? Well, because they throw the temper tantrums as they're doing right now. Now, if you can tell me right off the bat what the difference between X now, after Donald Trump won, and X before Donald Trump won is, I don't think they could. And I know I can't think of what the difference is other than liberals whining more loudly on it. There literally is no difference. Elon Musk hasn't started purging the rolls of liberals. I don't recall that Donald Trump was threatening to come after people for anything posted on X. In fact, I would say it's by far even more free speech focused. And in fact, I have been getting all this week, nothing when I check my, recommended for you side of things on X instead of just people I follow, which is typically how I do it, right? I don't want to be in an echo chamber. I've got nothing but liberal fed, force fed, like I'm being made into foie gras here with a tube down my neck, being force fed fat and corn. Nothing but liberal and progressive whining and tears. Now, I told you guys, I got suspended for a week from X. Maybe this is a trap. Maybe that's why. Maybe I get trapped into this somehow by Elon Musk. I got suspended from X because I told Robert Reich that he should crawl into a hole and die. That was enough to get me suspended. Now, maybe because of that, they're like, hey, man, go for it again. You know, stick your hand in the bear trap. See if you get snapped again. I don't know. But I've been getting nothing but Robert Reich. I've been nothing but, Mark Cubans and all these other like really leftist honk accounts being fed to me, Joe from Jers and everything like that on a nonstop basis. But they're all saying the same crap. They're all whining about X, and they're all threatening to leave X to go to Bluesky. Now, I've now seen excerpts from what's happening on Bluesky, and as I said, it's utterly boring. I don't believe them that they have that many users. Apparently, it's got 20 million users, which, of course, compared to X is nothing. Minuscule, a drop in the bucket, almost irrelevant, one would argue. But these people are saying this is the new home for the left. At the same time, they won't stop posting about it on X. Just like all of these celebrities that said they're going to move to Canada and ended up staying in the United States of America and not moving, which I'm still looking for celebrities to leave, right? Where Robert De Niro, Chelsea Handler, who else said they're going to leave? Bette Midler. I still don't see you leaving. I still don't see you leaving X either. You're going to be back. You're not deleting your account. You're threatening that you're going to leave because you want people to give you attention because that's all these people ever crave, right? I mean, half of this stuff is really that Donald Trump is such a center of gravity to people and draws so much attention that for a lot of celebrities, and I'm telling you, this is accurate, for a lot of celebrities, for a lot of media personalities, they are jealous more than they are anything. The anger, the hatred comes from the fact that this man, who was, of course, in their celebrity orbit for so long, that they traipsed about to all the finest parties in New York City and Hollywood for so long without any complaints, that he has so thoroughly eclipsed them that their egos can't handle it. And thus you get this natural reaction of people where they hate him because he has become a supernova and they are now turd moons floating around Endor. That's the truth of it. So these people will whinge and whine and tell you that they want to go to Bluesky and they're not going to be on X anymore. As if anybody gives a damn, by the way. I mean, honestly, tell me, other than Joe Rogan going to Spotify, which made people have to go to Spotify to listen to Joe Rogan, can anyone name a single celebrity that has threatened to leave X and go to Bluesky that anybody gave a damn about to follow? Don Lemon, hilariously, who for some reason Elon Musk apparently made a deal with to have a show on X. I don't understand the logic of it. I'm very happy I got the kibosh. Don Lemon made a big deal of leaving X to go to Bluesky. Who's going to tell him? Who's going to tell Don Lemon that people gave so few damns about him when he was on CNN, on major broadcast television, or at least cable television? They gave so few shits about him that he was canceled from CNN. They had to move him around from show to show to show to try to find an audience anywhere that gave a damn about Don Lemon. And the United States as a whole went, meh. Squeeze that lemon. Send him back to the lemon party. We don't care about Don Lemon. I don't think anybody's going to follow him to Bluesky either. Hate to break it to you, Don. Same thing with you, Bette Midler. Same thing with all these other whining, whinging, sociopathic, just monsters of ego that think they're important enough for anybody to care to follow them. No one's following you. If you went into battle, you would die alone on a hill filled with bullets and sabers. There's nobody coming behind you as you run up with your fucking blue butterfly flag up the hill. It's not happening. Oh, God, it's not happening. Yes, Libertarian Pugnators commenting. Yeah, I can't remember what the name of the other one is. I was talking about it earlier in the show. God, it's killing me. I can't remember. I'm telling you, it was some dinosaur name. Anyway, I was hoping my mic's not too close to me. So these Bluesky people are just an absolute embarrassment. But what's really funny, to put a little button on this Bluesky chat, what's really funny to me is that when all these liberals went to Bluesky, They crashed the server because in the past, this is from Bluesky Safety. In the past 24 hours, we have received more than 42,000 reports in one day. This is an all-time high for one day. 42,000 reports. We're receiving 3,000 reports per hour. To put that into context, in all of 2023, we received 360,000 reports. We're triaging this large queue so the most harmful content, such as CSAM, is removed quickly. Now, that is, I believe, something, whatever, something sex for minors, which is bad. And also, let's not forget that when Elon Musk bought Twitter, he made it one of the points to purge underage content, sex with minors that was rampant on Twitter. This is one of the things that, oh my God, the redhead comedian with the big boobs I've met. She's a very sweet woman. Chrissy? Anyway, she's lovely. She had made a big point of this, and I had her on my show to talk about it. But all the progressives were, not that we're giving Elon credit for that, but they're going on this app. They're putting reports in. Now, look, I'll give them some credit for this Bluesky app. I'm sure with the platform blowing up, you've got a lot of people going on there that are bots. I'm sure there's a lot of people going on there that are trolls. And I'm sure that, yes, there's probably people posting gross content. In fact, probably the gross content was there to begin with, because if you have a platform that's not being used that often and there's not reports being filed and there's not necessarily the policing apparatus in place, not that I'm a big fan of the police or policing apparati, then you probably have a home where people can post underage pornography a little bit more easy. But the point being, the reports flooding in, I can promise you, is not because there are 42,000 pieces of sex with minors content on this platform. I can almost but assure you that it's because liberals are going on there and reporting all the stupidest shit that they no longer can report on X about people saying the F word, the AGGOT F word, or calling people artards, or saying whatever the fuck else these liberals are offended by. That I can promise you. So enjoy. Enjoy ruining instantaneously the thing that you're trying to hold up. I mean, there's nothing funnier than it. There's just nothing better. It's like if they all found an island. It's like what we see when liberals move to places that used to be red and they leave blue states where progressive policies have destroyed them. They get to the red state, then they all vote for the same stupid policies and ruin it. That's what's happening with Bluesky. It's beautiful. And I love it. Congratulations, Bluesky. You reap what you sow. They'll all be back. They'll go. The platform will get a surge. Then it'll crash like a meteor hitting the earth. And then dickheads like Stephen King, who, by the way, also left X for Bluesky, he will find the meteor. Then it'll be some ridiculous story written by Stephen King where he gets covered in a moss-like substance and gets glued to his armchair, which I believe was a story from either the Twilight Zone movie or Creep Show 2. I'm sure somebody out there can look it up. Okay, moving on. So while we're talking about crashing and burning, and we're talking about, I guess, liberals coping, Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough went a completely different direction with their coping about the Donald Trump loss. Now, you'll recall, of course, Joe Scarborough was supposed to represent a conservative voice on MSNBC, and we'll be talking about MSNBC's ratings crashing and burning. But Scarborough got TDS, went completely insane, then cheated on his wife to hump and marry then co-host, now married wife co-host Mika Brzezinski. But TDS essentially drove them over the edge, and they are grifters, so they leaned into the TDS, they leaned into the Trump hate in order to make their show popular. Now, this worked for a short amount of time. What we're seeing now, and Glenn Greenwald had posted this, let me read this real quick. So Glenn Greenwald posted this on the 16th. This is per ad week. And here are the ratings for MSNBC and the rest of these shows. Fox News Channel, 4 p.m. through 11 p.m., nothing under 300,000 viewers. Neil Cavuto, Neil Cavuto's 253. He's at the 4 p.m. slot. Cavuto, 253. The 5, 442. Brett Baer, 472. And these are all hundreds of thousands. Ingram, 481. Waters World, 568. Hannity, 469. Greg Gutfeld, 529. And Gallagher, I have no idea who Gallagher is. I'm presuming it's not the man with the mustache and the watermelon, 324. CNN, struggling to get even a third times the ratings of Fox News, which, if you'll remember, Fox News does draw a ton of Democrats. And as mentioned in a previous Mean Age Daydream episode, you're seeing these news outlets like CNN and MSNBC crater because they've lost all credibility. Not that Fox should have that much more, but at least what's funny is they do try to have some sort of balanced approach in the reporting. And I think that, frankly, because of what's happened with the Trump reporting for polling, Russiagate scandals, you name it, you got it on these MSNBC and CNN platforms. Even Democrats know that they don't want to be fed nonsense anymore. And they're embarrassed over what happened this last election cycle, where they were convinced that Harris was neck and neck in Trump and that they were going to win. And that, the future was going to be one where they were going to get their houses made far more expensive by loans guaranteed and $25,000 gifts to new homeowners. CNN, across the board, far lower. I mean, Wolf Blitzer has 400,000 less viewers in episode than Brett Baer. That's crazy. But it's not as crazy as MSNBC. MSNBC, Wallace, 94,000. Melber, again, I don't even know who Melber is, 66,000. Joy Reid and the Readout, 76,000. I don't even know. I mean, patently mentally disabled people watch her. Hayes, 77,000. Wagner at 9 p.m., 53,000. And then the last word, 53,000, Rule 62. So they can't even break a 100,000 mark on any show anymore. So you can see why Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough may have to go and prostrate themselves to Donald Trump. Now, what's interesting about this is that they wanted their audience, and this is what's a little puzzling to me. I guess they're hoping that it went viral, and it did. B says, I always cheer her up. Thank you, B. So by prostrating themselves to Donald Trump and then talking about it on air, which is what they did, they said they went to Mar-a-Lago, they bent over, they lubed themselves up, and they had a deep conversation with Trump to open up the lines of communication. Apparently, they said he was emotional during it. I don't think I believe that, other than jubilant. And I don't know, maybe Mika gave him exactly the type of reach around he likes best. I'm not sure. I believe probably Melania was filming the whole thing. Because obviously now with the lawsuits and the lawfare, you have to get people consensually saying that they agree to this on tape. Otherwise, danger could come around the corner. So they go give him all the fellatio in the world. They talk about it on the show and it blows up. Like, look at these two. They are now so broken by Trump that they have to go and slather him in praise. My theory about this is that they're so desperate for viewers, and they know that the Democrat left, the psycho left, has gotten so small and whittled down after this latest round of lies, of villainy, of lawfare, and just losing. I mean, losing on every front. Losing. All the lawfare they built up, nothing's going to come of it. Nothing is going to come of any of it. They got trounced in the election. They got blown out. You now have all of these different changes coming in, which a lot of Democrats, and this is interesting, I listened to different shows about the betting markets. The best indicator of how people were going to vote was actually asking a simple question. And this was a question targeted towards the guys on the, God, was it whatever. One of the betting websites. They said that the greatest indicator for them was a question about whether or not you thought your neighbor was going to vote for Donald Trump or not. And a lot of people said, yeah, my neighbor's going to vote for Trump. I'm going to vote for Harris, right? Who knows if they would or not. But people were shocked at how many of their neighbors did vote, in fact, for Trump. And that there is a huge shift insofar as people's, I guess, optimism for the country under Donald Trump. For all the whinging and all the whining of these ultra leftists on Twitter and these celebrities on Twitter, the mass majority of people are actually optimistic about what is going to happen with the country economically, militaristically. And we're going to talk about Joe Biden trying to put a poison pill up Trump's ass in regards to Ukraine and get us into World War III in a minute. But people are more optimistic than they've been in a very long time. So Scarborough and Mika and the producer of that show, I'm sure, see the writing on the wall. They have a shrinking population of psycho anti-Trump Dems, as proven by this last election. So they need to go and make friends with the man. They need to rebuild a new audience. They have to convince people that they can come and watch their show. And even if they're Democrats, right? So if you're a Democrat, you're sick of just being force-fed, as I mentioned earlier, tube down the throat, lard and corn. You're sick of being force-fed lies and bullshit from the Democrat National Party. Because we've seen the videos, the compilations of the Democrats putting out a phrase and every mainstream media reporting it verbatim, including the idiots at the Scarborough, what is it called, Morning Joe, who, of course, had called Trump a Nazi and Hitler and the threat to democracy. Well, it's amazing what a threat to democracy will do when your ratings go in the shitter, right? You got to bend over for Hitler now. So they see that people need to know that there is not going to be a verbatim reporting from the DNC. And that's why they did this. And honestly, it's a smart thing to do. It makes them look pathetic. It makes them look like the grifters they are. But you know what? I'd rather know they're grifters and know that at least they're going, okay, we're going to try to make a deal with you, than have them do nothing and they know they'll just fade into obsolescence. Like in Back to the Future, Marty McFly, Mika and Joe staring at each other as they slowly disappear, hopefully both in puffy vests. So, God bless seeing the implosion of mainstream media. I think this is going to accelerate further, by the way. They've lost all credibility. There's going to be alternative sources coming up. That's the bright side. Working in media as I do, doing public relations, there are a lot of alternative sources coming up. You know, like Michael Schellenberger in Public, Matt Tiabi's publication. There's the 1440 News I now subscribe to on Twitter that is straight reporting. There's Pirate Newswires. I mean, there's all sorts of Substack publications and alternative news outlets, quote unquote, alternative news outlets, that essentially have just replaced mainstream news outlets but are doing a better job reporting. However, it's more siloed and smaller. Now, as these organizations grow, will they take on the size and scope of the formerly corporate media? Yeah, I would think that so. There's going to be decentralization for sure within the new media environment, but there's nothing to say that they can't grow to the size of like a Timcast, you know, of a Glenn Greenwald now. The influence of these people, the voice that they have, and the either reporting or commentary they do is already rivaling or superseding corporate media. But point being, there still will be news reporting. It's not like news reporting goes away, guys. It just is a different format that it's delivered to us. Okay, so that being said, let's move on to another topic. I do want to talk about, as I mentioned, the culture shift. And we'll do a little bit of talk about this, then we'll get into the latest Joe Biden dickery. So there's been a very apparent culture shift going on. As I said, you see this in the way these mainstream media cockroaches are now scuttling to find new shade to hide under. Look at what happened with Mike Tyson. Granted, horrible fight. I'm furious about it. Like an idiot, I put money on Tyson figuring that he was going to come out in a flurry, and it would have to happen in round 1 or 2. If he got past that, he's over. And that's what happened. I thought he was going to come out, be able to land a few punches, and then if he gets one shot in, and I didn't see a signature uppercut one time for that matter, or a signature hook, which is depressing. Horrible fight, pisses me off. But it was a spectacle. You saw at this Netflix spectacle, which 60 million households viewed, 60 million households, right? And this is international. 60 million households. Who was there? Donald Trump was there. Vivek Ramaswamy is there. Elon Musk is there. Tulsi Gabbard is there. All the crew is there, right? You see all these people at the end. And Jake Paul, of course, is a outward Trump supporter. Flash forward to the MMA fight that happened with John Jones beating, I don't know, Milosevic, Milugalugic, I don't know, some Eastern European name. Knocks him out with a beautiful spinning heel kick. It was one of those things you see, and if you've never fought before, you wouldn't realize how devastating that kick is, because he spun and got him right in, I guess, essentially, I think he hit him on the, I'm trying to think, left side, directly in the ribs and and side abs. Maybe got a little bit of a kidney in there. That hurts. And then he punches him in the head, and it's fight over. But what happened after that was momentous. And of course, who's there? Donald Trump is there. Joe Rogan is there, of course, who came out in big support of Donald Trump the day before the election. You've got, the whole cast of characters there. John Jones goes up, black, best fighter in the world. John Jones goes up to Donald Trump and does the little Donald Trump shimmy. That is a major shift in culture. And you're seeing that within a lot of MMA in general. Of course, Dana White is also a big Trump supporter, but it goes on from there. Pulisic, I'm blanking on his first name, but he's one of our best soccer players, young white male soccer player, Christian Pulisic. He had been abroad, and I think still is abroad playing. He was with numerous clubs between Europe and the Premier League. Fantastic player, one of the superstars of American soccer. Scores a goal. This just happened, I think it was yesterday, against Jamaica. You named it, the Trump dance. The Trump dance is going to be the new thing. All the kids, I can fucking promise you, all the kids are going to be doing the Trump dance. The dab is dead. The whatever the thing where you put your hands back and forth in front of your body that's on Bluey, dead. The Trump dance is the new thing. This is an epic culture shift. The fact that Christian Pulisic would do this Trump dance in a sport which is by far dominated by liberals. If you're talking about soccer, you're talking about mostly a liberal audience in the U.S. at least, and honestly, well, probably not worldwide. I think it's probably fairly split, but in the U.S., it's definitely liberal. Because you've got soccer, which is, a very suburban sport, which, a lot of your suburbs are typically be filled with your soccer mom, liberal white women, your soccer mommies and their minivans. You've got a collegiate environment, which these sports taking place in, which is your schools. So your teachers and your coaches, they're going to be taking over the soccer teams and the squads and teaching them. They are going to be all liberals. Then you go into the college ranks, right? Where then the next step, well, where are you in there? Well, now you're in college. Now you're surrounded by liberal bullshit all the time. Okay, so it's a very liberal sport. For Christian Pulisic to get out there and do this dance as the #1 star in USA soccer is a big deal. It is a huge deal. It shows you that, number one, people are trying to break out of the shackles of censorship, of cancellation. I talked about Justine Bateman in Hollywood, Hollywood star, talking about how she is relieved that Donald Trump is in there because she basically says, I'm happy not to walk on eggshells anymore. You're seeing the mold break. And that's really, I think, the most important thing to come out of this. I mean, look, I don't know what Donald Trump's going to do. I hope great things. I hope he frees Ross. I hope he cancels the Department of Education. I hope he does all the things he's saying he's going to do. I want to see DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, hack, slash, and burn. I want to see the FBI and the CIA put in the dirt. I want to see them buried like the people that they bury doing clandestine operations everywhere around the world. I want to see all these things, but I don't know if they're going to happen. I know for a fact that one thing is happening and has happened, though, and that is the culture shift and the breaking of the molds and the people pushing back against censorship, cancellation, and saying we want to have an environment where people are able to talk about each other, talk to each other, express viewpoints, and have alternate modes of, entertainment, comic books, media, whatever. You got it, you name it. Everything has been so dominated by left-wing progressive horseshit for so long. People are now fighting against it. And of course, that includes sports. Look what happened during Black Lives Matter. My God. Look what happened during COVID. Idiotic, virtue signaling nonsense throughout all of sports, all of entertainment. Sports, at least, they're on the front lines pushing back. And I'm telling you, you're going to see the entertainment industry fall in line. You're already hearing about it. You're already hearing about people getting fired. You're already hearing about Marvel firing every DEI-centric writer and director that's in there, been ruining their content for decades now. You see Disney out there trying to do damage control for the new Snow White piece of crap that no one wants to see because their lead keeps talking trash about white people and Donald Trump supporters. And now they're just like, would you just shut up, Rachel Zegler? Would you just shut up? Go to Bluesky, where no one will hear you or care. That's a brave new world. Okay. One more thing here, and then we're going to wrap it up. A little bit of a shorter show today. I got a lot going on. Joe Biden, who welcomed Trump in with a big smile on his face, and I think he was legitimately happy when Donald Trump won because of Kamala Harris and what a piece of garbage she is. But he has made some moves in the last couple days that really pissed me off. The first one, maybe the less dangerous one for sure, is $4 billion gift to the World Bank. Now, this is ostensibly to improve economies around the world, right? Now, if you're familiar with reading The Creature from Jekyll Island, which all of you should read, you know that the World Bank is one of many institutions like the IMF, the World Economic Forum. The World Bank is simply an institution that exists for bankers and the elites to shovel money around to lead to the, again, basically taking money from sovereign nations, wealthy sovereign nations, and then shoveling it around to these different poor countries. And they say it's for economic development, but really it doesn't do shit. It doesn't really go anywhere meaningful. It doesn't really improve the lives of these people. What it does do is go into the local bankers' pockets. What it does do is remove the sovereignty of the originating country, aka the United States, and make life more difficult and expensive for everybody there. You can't say that taking $4 billion out, not that that's a ton of money, but considering the fact that we have a massive inflationary state right now and a spiraling debt that now I think is over $38 trillion, certainly not a great idea. And you could argue that all of these payments added up, right? All the payments to the Ukraine, all the payments to the IMF, all the payments to the World Bank, all the payments, whatever, you got it. All this shit we've been dealing out for welfare in one way or another, be it militaristic welfare or corporate welfare or public welfare or foreign aid welfare, you name it, has gotten us where we're at. And that has led to us being insolvent, which we factually are. We are an insolvent nation that is $38 trillion in debt. And the only reason that we're not called on this is because every other nation is also in the same Ponzi scheme of international debt being financed and layered because the bankers and the government's elites that are backing bankers and that benefit from the payouts, they don't let this house of cards collapse because they're the ones that are going to feel the brunt of it more than anyone because they've got all the fiat currency. So fuck Joe Biden, fuck the World Bank, and fuck this $4 billion payment. Now, one thing to end on is Joe Biden has, despite the best recommendations of intelligent people that understand what's going on with Russia, that you don't poke the bear, has approved use of U.S. military technology and missiles that can fire long-range weaponry into Russia. That is an act of war. If there are weapons, which they are, and we're giving them to another country, which is an ally of ours, which Ukraine is, in a conflict where we've been backing them with military technology, surveillance, and strategy, and now we say, here are missiles we are going to give you that you may fire, which we will help you guide into a foreign fucking country, that's an act of war. Yet Joe Biden has just okayed that. Now, maybe Biden is okaying that, thinking, well, you know what, with Trump coming in, he's going to quiet this whole thing down. So maybe these missiles will just do some good damage to Russia, because fuck Russia, and then Trump's going to end it anyway. So really, it's a win-win. If that's what he's saying, if that's what their generals are saying, I get it, right? I understand it. I still think it's a horribly asinine, unnecessary, dangerous, and cruel thing to do. But I get it. And I think that's what is happening here. I think that they view it as a win-win because Putin's going to wait for Trump to get in there and he knows that this is all going to go away, that he's going to get his territories and it's going to call it quits because we're going to cut off the funding and the military arms to Ukraine. But in the meantime, he certainly is poking the fucking bear and he certainly is wasting more military armament that costs millions and millions of dollars to U.S. taxpayers. And he certainly is trying his best to put Trump in a difficult situation going in to try to defuse this entire Ukraine-Russia quagmire, which we have embedded ourselves in. So Hopefully, Joe Biden does not go quietly and does a little bit of pain before he passes. That's all I'll say about Joe. All right, guys. So, Keir Starmer B says Keir Starmer has also done the same. Well, idiots of a feather, right? Keir Starmer, another piece of garbage. All right, guys, that's going to do it for Mean Age Daydream. Want to remind you, you can support us, and please do. Patreon, locals, we're there. If you'd like to support me, I'd appreciate it. And the first episode podcast, it's hilarious. Go download it. Thank you. It's easy to find. It's in the Rumble stream. You can find it on your podcast feed. The first episode podcast. Very easy. Very funny. We review an old TV show and a new TV show. This week upcoming, we're going to be doing the franchise on HBO Max. And for the old show, what did we say we're going to do? Let me look it up. I've got it. I've got a list here. The old show, we are going to do Flight of the Conchords. There you go. 2 shows you can find on Max. All right. That's it. From me, Brian McWilliams, from the Lions of Liberty podcast and Lions Liberty Network. And Mean Age Daydream. Keep those electric eyes on me, babe. Keep that ray gun to my head. Whoops, wrong one. Peace.